Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this very special afternoon at the Reunion Reimagined Alumni Athletes Program. My name is Ula Lysniak, and I'm a graduate from the class of 1987 and a member of the Reunion Committee. We are also joined by Maya Yamanovich and Daniela Young, who are helping to make this event possible. Thank you to both of you. Now, just before we start, I want to clarify some points about having your camera and microphone on. This online event enables an attendee to participate through a personal device's microphone and/or camera. An attendee may elect not to participate through the use of a microphone and/or camera. The election of the attendee to use a microphone and/or camera constitutes a release and waiver of rights in the capture of the attendee's image, likeness, and/or voice for the exclusive use by Barnard College. Okay, so the official business is done. I'm so excited that we have so many alumni athletes gathered here today, all at the same time. I think we actually should do this monthly. All right, so I was a student athlete at Barnard who played basketball, and it so very much shaped my experience at the college. Some of my dearest friends are former teammates, and other teammates that maybe I have not seen for 10 years or so. When we do meet up, it's as though we haven't skipped a beat. Teams are unique in that way, in the closeness that we do share. But this close relationship that develops between student athletes goes beyond the teammates that you played with. It extends to your team at the college. Student athletes that played basketball before me, student athletes that played basketball after me, or even those that are still playing. There is a bond that we all share and an understanding that we have, and that is what is really special. We all have different experiences with our team, but the tireless hard work that is put into our sport, the teammate companionship that we experience, that is all the same. And that is what has made our student athlete experience so unbelievably rich for all of us. We recognize the effort and passion that it takes to succeed on the court, in school, and in life. And that is what all of us and all the former student athletes that are here today share with each other. Now, how did being a student athlete at Barnard impact my life? Well, very simply, it allowed me to see the world. I played basketball professionally in Europe, and I was able to live in Salzburg, Austria for almost 3 years. What a beautiful city. I was able to travel to every European country while I was abroad, except for Andorra, and I still plan on visiting Andorra. And I learned how to speak different languages. All of that expanded my world. Now I'm a professor of exercise science and kinesiology, and this is a profession I never had imagined for myself, but that also occurred because of basketball. I accepted a coaching job that required me to teach, and so I taught, and a professor was born. I love what I do, and I do know that it was Barnard and being a student athlete that started me on this path. And I remain engaged with and loyal to Barnard as an alumna and volunteer for the same reasons that I mentioned about my team. My Barnard class was also a quote unquote team, the Barnard 87 team, and my classmates enriched my life and on campus and off. And these are also women who have stayed in my life and inspire me every day with their own amazing accomplishments. And hopefully all of you will be sharing your accomplishments with us later on. Now, we have a very special guest joining us today. This amazing woman inspires me and many Barnard alums. It is my pleasure to introduce the 8th president of Barnard, Sian, Leah Beilock. President Beilock has led Barnard since 2017. Before then, she served as the Stella M. Rowley Professor of Psychology and Executive Vice Provost at the University of Chicago. She is one of the world's leading experts on the cognitive science behind choking under pressure and performance anxiety, with a focus on math and science for women and girls. She is the author of 2 critically acclaimed books, Choke and How the Body Knows Its Mind. And her 2018 TED Talk has been viewed over 2.5 million times. Amazing. Please join me in welcoming President Beilock.
Hi, everyone. Oh, it's so wonderful to see so many faces. I see our national champion, Anne Savella, on, and athletes newer and older. And thank you, Ula, for the kind words and sharing your experience as a Barnard student athlete and for the kind introduction. You're such a legacy, Ula, and you inspire all of us. Just as, you know, all of your accolades, I think it's worth pointing them out. A 2006 inductee into the Columbia Athletics Hall of Fame, 2019 legend of Ivy League basketball. And you've been such a strong supporter of alumni athletes and on the ABC reunion committee, so we thank you for that. It's wonderful to see athletes, both Barnard Bears and Columbia Lions, here with us. And we're joined by two folks who, without them, this would not have been possible. Philippa Portnoy, class of '86, who was the captain of the women's tennis team, and Virginia Ryan, class of '83, who works as the secretary to the board of trustees at Barnard and really took over as the athletics liaison on Barnard's campus when we really made a commitment to increase support, recognition, and recruitment of athletes to the Barnard side of the street to play Division I athletics with Columbia. And I'm also looking forward to hearing from Devon Bernsley, who graduated in 2020. She coxed for the women's crew team throughout her time at Barnard. She majored in psychology and biology, worked as an RA, and so much more. And so it's great to have everyone here. Before I turn it over to the other speakers, I wanted to just spend a moment underscoring what Ula said about how important we think it is to have athletes as part of Barnard's student body, and how it's been one of my missions since I've been here to really increase both the recognition and support for athletes. So I'll just give you a couple stats because I'm 4 years in now. So we have a little bit under our belt, and I think we're really proud of where we've come, and we see a really bright roadmap going forward. So between 2015 and 2019, we averaged just 20 student athletes at Barnard. For this past academic year, we had 36 athletes on 14 teams, 38 student athletes. And then in this current, in the 2020 academic year, we had 36. And then this last academic year, we had 38 Barnard student athletes on 13 different teams, 13 different women's teams plus men's heavyweight rowing. So the only teams we don't have women participating on, which goes from having Barnard athletes on just a few teams to having them almost on all women's teams, are golf and softball. So be on the lookout for great recruits in golf and softball. My goal is to have Barnard women on every single team. Really, in the past, we hadn't recruited to the Barnard side of the street, and there were few walk-ons, but we've made a real effort working with the Columbia coaches, working with Peter Pilling, the athletic director, to have students have the opportunity to be recruited to both Barnard and Columbia, and it's turning out to be a real success. So just so you know, for this class of 2025, we have 14 athletes in total coming in. That's, you know, a big number for a new class, right? And a growing number of walk-ons. And we have support for our students that augment what they get at Columbia in terms of athletics. One of the areas I'm really excited about is our new Francine Lafrac Foundation Center for Wellbeing, which is going to be in Barnard Hall. It's going to be the focus of physical, mental, and financial well-being. The idea being that all of these components are important to be successful. And we're actually working with Peter Pilling and others at Columbia. The coaches are really excited about having financial well-being programming for their student athletes, and we will be having dedicated space at the Wellbeing Center. That is the plan right now for student athletes. So we're really excited to really have support on both sides of the street. And we've done a lot to increase recognition. I don't know if you noticed a few years ago, but we had banners on Broadway of some of our athletes. We have a new celebration of Barnard athletes, and we yearly are doing a Women in Athletic Leadership talk and series with Columbia. And it's so fun to be able to do that. And although this past academic year, we didn't get to see our teams competing, I have fond memories of being at basketball, fencing, swim meets. I take my 10-year-old now to a lot of them, and we look forward to being back next year. So, you know, it's an amazing opportunity that our students can compete as different Division I athletics. I firmly believe that academic excellence is based on having diverse experiences, diverse views at the table, and athletics and athletes certainly fit into that. And so if you ask me what Barnard is all about, I will say academic excellence. And if you ask me how we get there, having a real strong contingent and support for athletes is one primary goal. So thank you for being you. Continue to be involved in what everything that you can. You know, we love it that you support our annual fund. If you have internships, or opportunities for jobs, connect with Beyond Barnard to try and hire a student or an athlete. And please be involved in our athletes alumni circle. It means so much to our students to see the athletes that went before them. And I look forward to continuing to create and uphold and expand this amazing community. Thank you.
Well, thank you, President Beilock. I am now pleased to introduce Philippa Feldman Portnoy, class of '86. Philippa has a BA from Barnard College and an MBA from Columbia Business School. As an undergraduate, she was the captain of the women's tennis team, and she won the Seven Sisters single tournament. So she's to be feared on the tennis court. And she has remained extremely active as an alumna. She is the founding member of the Athena Center for Leadership Studies. She has served on the Alma Maters Committee and the Barnard Gala Committee, among many other roles. Now, she joined the Alma Maters. This is a group that are Barnard graduates who are mothers. She joined the Alma Maters Committee as she wanted to get pregnant, and it worked. She is a mother of triplets. Thank you, Alma Maters. So welcome, Philippa. A pleasure to have you.
Thanks, everyone. And Ula, thanks so much for that introduction. And I can tell you that Alma Maters was a great resource for me when the kids were younger and I had 3 boys running around like crazy. So thanks for all of that. And thanks so much for all of you for joining today. And I can't tell you how nice it is to see all of you and to see how big our network of alumni athletes is. As it probably was for you, athletics was one of the best parts of my college experience. I was a walk-on as a Barnard Bear and graduated as a Columbia Lion. My closest friends, as Ula said, are still my teammates. The changes in the athletic program have been amazing from where I started. So my first year, we practiced at 6:30 in the morning. We had no budget for a spring break trip. I had 3 coaches in 4 years. We never had an assistant coach. The uniforms, I should have brought pictures, or, kind of crazy looking. But in spite of all that, we managed to beat Cornell in my senior year, and that first Ivy League win was just an amazing experience, and I'll never forget it. I also had unbelievable mentors while I was at Barnard, and I was really close to Margie Tversky, the former Barnard athletic director, and I even knew Marion Phillips, for whom the Varsity C Award is named after. After graduation, I also became really close with Dean Karen Blank, who gave so much of her time to athletics. So the Barnard family has just been so supportive of athletes for so long, and it's something that I always treasure. It in fact gave me like a sense of confidence and made me feel supportive, which helped me, I think, in my career. I was a banker, an aviation banker, and that was a very male-dominated field, and I always felt fine and confident, in my skills and that I could keep up with anyone. So I'm very grateful for what Barnard gave me and for what athletics gave me. As an alum, I've always wanted to give back to Barnard, and I've been active since graduation in various different roles. And I'm currently on the AABC board, and there's some other athletes on the board as well. And it's really important for us athletes to be active, and it's really great when athletics has a voice on the AABC board. So, and there's just, it's a nice way to meet other Barnard alums from different eras. So I really encourage you to stay active, and the more athletes we have on the AABC board, the better. It's a great way to connect with other Barnard alums and to help support our current students. As Sian mentioned, it's a great time to be an athlete at Barnard with all the recruiting. It's amazing. And it's clear that athletics is a top priority for Sian. And I really do think that the LaFrac Center for Wellbeing will really change us. And really think it's going to be an amazing thing for our athletes. A few of us are also working to increase our connectivity with each other. And I think as Sian mentioned, we've had some of these alumni circles for athletes. And I encourage you, when you can, to take part. We've done a couple of them, and it's just a nice informal way to get to know some of the other Barnard athletes. We're also piloting an athletics group on Barnard Connects, which is kind of like a LinkedIn platform where you can connect with current students and with other athletic alums. And you will see some information on the chat there shortly. We are ready to open up Barnard Connects to all of you, and we hope that all of you will join. And I think it's going to be a great way for us to keep up with the current Barnard student athletes and with each other. And now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Devon Bernsley. Devon is a member of the class of 2020 and was the varsity coxswain of the women's rowing team. She majored in physiology and organismal biology. I didn't think I was going to get that right. And wrote her thesis on the thermal ecology of box turtles through partnership with the American Museum of Natural History. She also was a Barnard RA for 3 years. 2 of those years were with first-year students. Currently, she lives in New York City and is a scientific affairs associate at JDS Therapeutics, a supplement company that targets women's health and sports nutrition. Now I'm happy to turn the program over to Devon.
Thank you, Philippa. It's so nice to be here. Being a Barnard student athlete was a huge part of my college experience. I think I really lucked out on the timing because I had a few great Barnard rowing mentors on the team when I started, but I really got to watch the Barnard athletics community grow during my time at Barnard. President Beilock started my sophomore year, and her efforts with Virginia Ryan to make the Barnard athlete experience a community were incredible. There were events and gatherings, and I got to know the Barnard athletes on other teams, and it was so special to see it grow and see so many inter-sport friendships form by my senior year. I remember right at the end of my senior fall, there was a Barnard athletics breakfast, and it was the largest Barnard athletics gathering that I had seen so far, and I got to meet all the new freshmen who were so excited about this community, and I felt like my experience had come full circle. Being a coxswain on the rowing team is a very interesting job. You sit at the front or the back of the boat, and you're in charge of steering, correcting technique, and executing the race plan. I think that being in this position in conjunction with all of my Barnard classes helped me grow into a leader that inspires rather than controls. As a coxswain, it's essential that you get the boat to work together rather than each person just pulling their hardest. I still remember this race against Penn where we were expected to be down off the start. But we ended up staying dead even with Penn for the first 400 meters, switching up the lead every few strokes. They were ahead and then we were ahead. So I knew that in this case, it was a matter of grit and teamwork. Whichever boat was willing to put in that extra bit of strength and lock in their strokes together would be the one to pull ahead. Our boat had this lock in and breathe call before our big moves. So I knew that that would be crucial in this case, as well as a slightly early move. We ended up pulling up on Penn during that move by 4 seats, and we were able to hold our lead for the rest of the race and were able to beat them by over 4 seconds. It was necessary in that moment to inspire the boat to work together as well as give that extra inch. That moment where everyone was inspired and worked together to accomplish a common goal will always stay with me. Now, when I'm working and I think about the role I play on a team and that communal goal and how to go that extra inch, I think this will follow me into every job and every aspect of my life to come. Athletics actually led me to my current job. I was introduced to the company through an athletics industry night where I got to meet the athletics alumni who were currently working at the company. Then I actually talked to AJ at Beyond Barnard about the job and the company, and I learned that his sister actually worked at the company, so he put me in touch with her and I got to learn even more. I really love my current job, and there are actually multiple Barnard and athletics alumni working there, which makes it a great community. Being a Barnard student athlete allowed me to have the best of both worlds. It allowed me to have my close-knit Barnard friendships and get involved on campus as an RA. It also allowed me to have my close teammates. I knew that I had a group of people that I could turn to for class recommendations, support with homework, life and career advice, or even just someone to talk to if I needed a friend. I think that the Barnard community is so special, and bringing athletics into that experience only allowed me to learn more. As a Barnard student, you figure out what it means to be a strong leader, and I think that rowing was a huge part of that journey for me, and I'm so grateful to Barnard for that. Thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it back over to Philippa.
Devon, thanks so much for those great remarks, and I'm so glad you had a great experience, and I think it's just wonderful. So now we're going to just have like a dialogue between all of us, and if some of you want to share, some stories from your time at Barnard, what inspired you to join today's event, or what it meant to be a Barnard athlete. And I'd like to just ask Anne if she wants to just, have a few comments or tell us about her Barnard story.
Yeah, I have a short little piece that I wrote it on paper so I wouldn't mess up any words, but okay. So I don't remember the exact moment where I fell in love with Barnard, but Barnard was on my radar for as long as I could remember. Growing up in the city, my mom was a geriatric visiting nurse who had quite a lot of patients all across the Upper West. So I remember the time she'd take me to work, aka where I'd run around campus for a few hours. Then fencing became a huge part of my life, which is a story for another time, but I could not believe the coincidence. Barnard was a part of Columbia's Division I fencing program, the strongest fencing program in the country, known for churning out not just NCAA champions, but Olympians. Rivaled only by Penn State and Notre Dame, both schools with massive football budgets, Columbia was internationally known in the fencing world for making do with limited recruiting spots and actually improving fencers during their 4-year stay. I remember the Barnard fencers who trained at my club because as a high school athlete, you secretly look up to the people who go to the school that you want to go to. You might be scared to say hi or even walk in their direction, but at the bottom of your heart, you think to yourself, I want to be you. For me, it was women like Sarah Taffel, Lena Johnson, Audrey Yoon, Katie Angen, of which half of these names, I will honestly tell you, probably don't know if I exist, but I looked up to them. They were, in a word, cool. To this day, I'm not sure how to describe it, other than saying they're the epitome of bold, beautiful Barnard women. They all majored in a spectrum of things from psychology to architecture, and I'd see how they carry themselves in and out of the fencing club. They'd talk about fencing, their friends, and sometimes boys, but most of the time I'd see how they'd sit in their uniforms, still flushed from practice, having animated conversations about life, possible careers, and time outside the bubble of campus, even though they were nowhere near to close to graduating yet. I now look back and realize they were my first peek into what it meant to be a Barnard athlete. I don't know if it's because Barnard is a small school with an even smaller pocket of athletics, but when I got to Barnard, I realized I was forced to grow into something aside from just a student athlete. Yes, I can have my Olympic-sized dreams and sing Kumbaya with my teammates across the street, but at the end of the day, Barnard encouraged me to find a part of myself that could shine just as brightly outside of a fencing room. I was constantly surrounded by women who were finding meaning in things that were anything but athletics. Some of my best memories I had were cracking at organic chemistry problems until 4 a.m. with a classmate I had only met hours earlier, or helping my roommate bounce off article ideas for a lifestyle piece for Spec, Columbia's newspaper. These two individuals I just mentioned are people I now consider my closest friends, and I don't know how else I would have met them if I'd chosen to close myself off from anything outside the team. So in a word, the Barnard student athlete experience is one that forces you to be a multifaceted you, the best version of yourself. There was life before you first picked up that soccer ball, or épée in my case, and there will be life after. While I'm still fencing seriously, there was nothing remotely close to the support and resources of a Division I team waiting for me after college, which is why the road ends for so many student athletes after graduation, and it could be an especially disorienting end at that. So aside from pushing me to grow an environment that I'd like to think fostered grit and determination, Barnard encouraged me to go all in for a sport that I loved with all my heart, but also not to let it be the only thing that defines me. And for that, I am forever grateful.
Thank you, Anne. It's a great story. And I remember meeting you at a dinner we had for athletes like 2 years ago before COVID. So it's just nice to hear how well you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd also like to invite Bella if she wants to just share a couple of anecdotes as well.
Hi. Hi, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm really honored to be here. I didn't prepare anything super formal, but I really feel that my experience at Barnard has shaped so much who I am in what I do every day. I'm working in finance now. I'm working on Wall Street, and I find that something that Barnard, that being a coxswain and the Columbia lightweight men's rowing team taught me is just how to show up. I think that, preparation is everything, and I wouldn't have gotten the special education that I did at Barnard and on the Columbia men's rowing team if I didn't have that opportunity. I think that being a student athlete is also something that's really important. I used to always joke that I felt like an athlete student, but that combination of rigorous academic work and pushing yourself every day alongside your teammates is something that I really value, and I'm really grateful to have had. I became a national champion in 2018 with the Columbia men's lightweight rowing team, which was a really incredible experience. And I think about racing a lot. I know Devon mentioned a special race. I feel like in my mind, I have these special moments that I come back to that are just really special and something that I wouldn't have been able to get elsewhere. So thank you so much again, everyone, for being here. It's really nice to see so many faces.
Thank you, Bella. It's nice to see you too. Congratulations on all your success. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. So I think maybe it's not a bad idea to have everyone go around and just do a quick intro, tell us about your experience at Barnard, what sport you played. So I'm gonna just try and see if I can go across the boxes here. Why don't we start with, well, I'm just gonna go in order here. Let's go with Virginia. Do you wanna quickly introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Virginia Ryan. I am class of '83, not an athlete, but so happy to be involved as President Beilock's liaison to Columbia. I've had a great opportunity since 2018 to meet many, many current and recent alum athletes and to help let them feel the Barnard love, that we're so proud of them and we are delighted with their every success, and we want them to know that we are eager to connect them with other Barnard students and the Barnard alum community as well.
Thank you, Virginia. Wendy, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Wendy Rosov. I live in Northern California, class of '86. I was one of the last Barnard Bears, and my freshman year. And I'm actually telling a moth story on Friday about it. So I encourage all of you to come and listen. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having this session.
Oh, it's nice to see you again, Wendy. We're saying.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's been probably about 35 years. But who's counting?
I'm going to make sure I listen to your session. So thanks for joining us today.
Right on.
All right, Amy. Amy is our AABC president, but I'm going to let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, my sport was singing in Bacante, and I was always the last chosen for teams, starting early in junior high and continuing on as long as I had to do sports. But just hearing what athletics has meant to everybody here is so inspiring and makes me so incredibly jealous of your prowess, your persistence, and everything it sounds like athletics has given to you. And I'm really happy to hear about the ways you have grown from the athletics program and the way that you continue to represent Barnard as an offshoot of that experience. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Amy. Susan, do you want to introduce yourself? Susan McCormick.
Sure. Hi, my name is Susan McCormick. I work in the president's office. I am not a Barnard alum, but as we say, a Barnard enthusiast. I'm in awe of all of you. I've only been here for about, I think I'm coming up on month 4 and enjoying every minute of it, and look forward to seeing more people in person as the weeks, months, and years go by.
Thanks, Susan. Katie, do you want to go ahead?
Okay, I've unmuted. I'm the class of 1972, and that times have changed. I was actually on the archery team, but I was taking archery as my phys ed requirement, and I sort of thought, oh, that would be fun. I really didn't have any background in it other than, just kind of fooling around maybe when I was a kid with a bow and arrow and whatever. But I decided, well, I wouldn't have to change into a uniform. I could just wear my street clothes and go to the gym. And there were these big targets of straw lined up at the other end of the gym. And there were the bows and the arrows and the quivers, and we, got ourselves into the equipment with the help of the teacher. And it was a very different, non sort of technical sport. We didn't have the sight, the sight lineups that they have now. And we didn't have, the place where you put the arrow, the knock. And we just shot, we learned the rules and the how to not ever cross the line while people were still shooting, you stay behind. And we just kept practicing, and that was my dip class. And the teacher there said, well, would you join the team? And I just said, sure, why not? And so that's how I became part of the archery team. And yes, it's become quite an event or a sport, that's supported mostly by Columbia students now. I think, that's what I've learned. I fast forward to a few years ago, and I happened to meet one of the archers on the Columbia team. She went to Barnard, named Kat Alfaro from California. And we just started talking. I had no idea she was on the archery team. We just started talking. It was at some other event. I think she just wandered in there at the end, probably to see if there was any food or anything left over. And I sort of invited her to come down. I saw her looking around. I invited her to come, sit next to me at a table. And we just started talking. And she told me she was on the archery team. And I said, whoa, hey, I was too. And I actually went to one of, a couple of her practices. And I said, wow, this is the real thing, but so different than what I had experienced. But I joined the archery sort of club at Columbia for alumni, or anybody who wanted to play. You didn't have to be on the team, you learned how to play. So I was doing that up at the Nash building a couple of years ago, before when they were holding it up there. And it was a bit of a trek to get up there, but I went to the practices and I played with people just learning and people who were on the team. And I just, I really had a lot to learn, but it was an amazing time. And she was graduating at the end of the year, so I haven't seen her since then or done archery. But who knows? Hey, who knows? Maybe I'll get back to it again someday. So that's my story, being a Barnard archery player.
That's a great story.
I know, it was really cool that I had met her. And we just hit it off and we just started talking.
That's
Yeah, so.
And I think Tara Krieger, I think, is an archer, a Barnard archer also, isn't she? I don't know, Tara Krieger?
I don't know the names of the team, but
it's a great story.
Yeah. I have a t-shirt because the Columbia, the archery team actually won a championship, and I ended up getting one of their t-shirts, and so now I have this champion team archery t-shirt, as if I had deserved it. I wore it proudly. So it's a kind of a fond memory of mine.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Katie, do they still have the alumni archery club team that you were participating on?
I don't know, because I don't know if that facility was open. The Nash building was way up in the new, 132nd Street. And I don't know if that is opened or if they have reopened the clubs. I don't know. This was a couple of years ago, and I went, for a while, and then I kind of stopped going. It was a bit, out of the way, and in the evening, it was just kind of didn't make it. So I don't know if they have it now with COVID and all that. I don't know if they've been holding a club or not. So maybe I'll find out and join up again. It's a lifetime sport. You can do it.
That's great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joan, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm happy to. My name is Joan Clark. I am not a Barnard alum, but I feel like a sister. I'm a Wellesley alum, class of '86. So I'm hopping on my reunion virtually in between the events here. I work in the development office at Barnard and have so greatly enjoyed getting to know my Barnard sisters of the '80s. I too am a college athlete, which is one of the reasons I was really excited to be at this event. I played field hockey at Wellesley, and I share the same sentiments that you have all shared about the importance of those relationships and the tight-knit groups on campus. And I must have talked about it a lot because I am now the parent of 3 college athletes, all of whom are having similarly wonderful, or had similarly wonderful athletic experiences on college. Not always successful on the scoreboard, but always great experiences. So I love hearing about everything that you guys did back in the day at Barnard, and it makes me feel good because I can so relate to it.
That's great. I have college athletes too. It's just wonderful. I feel so fortunate. Well, thank you for that.
Oh, as a parent, you're so lucky. I mean, you get to know these kids in a way that, you get to know your kid's life in a way that you just wouldn't if you didn't have that connection to the campus. So fortunate. I'm happy that you have that as well.
Thanks. Donna, would you like to make a few comments? Donna, you're muted, sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. So in case anyone was wondering, the black and white picture of me looking very athletic was not actually for athletes. It was to encourage vaccinations, and it was for a PSA by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So, I'm a class of '81. I was not involved in a college athletics, but sports was became part of my life because I was a library clerk working to produce, to put myself through college at Barnard, working at Time Incorporated magazines in the mornings and going to classes in the afternoons. And for the first time, they had photo internships for both Life magazine and Sports Illustrated. And I happened to be able to get the one at Sports Illustrated because my father had started up a sports magazine for high schoolers. He had been a star athlete when he was young and just wanted to bring attention to all the young athletes and give them, let colleges know about them so they could have possibly opportunities for scholarships and, you know, possibly a future career in professional sports, which he had always dreamed of. But due to the war, World War II, and the prejudice against Japanese Americans at the time, it just, you know, was not possible. But so I went, so I had an incredible internship at Sports Illustrated as a junior in summer of my junior year at Barnard. And, you know, Jack Nicklaus was there, and, you know, it just threw me into like just an amazing world. And after I graduated, I was intending to travel around Europe and find my roots in Japan, you know, and so I was, however, somewhere in Northern Europe, like I got a message saying I was offered a job at Sports Illustrated, and did I want to take it? And so like I wasn't sure because I had focused on Japan. So I was on the Trans-Siberian Railroad, like going across then the Soviet Union, and just, you know, trying to evaluate things. My 2 years in Japan ended up to be 2 weeks because I decided to go to Sports Illustrated because, for a variety of reasons. You know, I was a Japanese looking person who didn't speak Japanese very well, which was a big handicap. The opportunities for women overall, I felt, were very limited. And so, you know, in some ways, Sports Illustrated, even though it was a huge unknown, you know, seemed to be the best route for me. So, but so I spent about 8 years at the magazine, and it was just an amazing world of, you know, athletes, you know, everything from, you know, success to failure. It was so many stories of the human spirit, you know, and to even you know, the worst and the best, the drugs and you know, the sad and tragic stories to the really inspiring ones. And I was able to work on several Olympics as well. One of these was the 1984 Los Angeles Games. And, you know, it was just thrilling. Met Edwin Moses. And I think I don't know why not a serious athlete, kind of got into this world, but I really think it was because you know, there's something about sports that transcends all economic, you know, all social status. You know, it really, it draws everyone together. And in a world where, you know, there's so much strife and conflict and division, you know, what is it that can bring us together? And so, I've left Sports Illustrated in the 80s, although I freelanced for many other magazines after that, but I still keep a connection to sports. And this year, the Tokyo Olympics, you know, I am really committed that, you know, the games are kind of, you know, just have been in doubt. It looks like it's going to go on, but, you know, there's mixed feelings about it. And I really would love for the world to focus on the positive, that, you know, and look at aspects that we normally may not be paying so much attention to, like the Olympic spirit, and be grateful for the games, and call them perhaps the gratitude games for all that we have been through, you know. And these are Olympics that will never again happen in the way that they're happening now. So what can we look at the Olympic spirit? What is it about Olympic athletes that everybody, even if you're not interested in sports, can relate to in their lives? The courage, the perseverance, the dedication, the training, the fumbling and the failures and the disappointments. I think it's a huge opportunity to really have maybe more of the world pay attention to the games than have ever been in the past. So I'm making a proposal to the Olympic Committee and engaging in, oh, sorry, I'm looking for something. Yes, like just many different ways to engage the world in the games, and even having like a pillow of the world, that sending thousands of them potentially to the Tokyo, and having people be able to hug and to the athletes and be able to hug, because you maybe can't hug the person, you can't hug the athletes you would want to hug, but you can symbolically hug them. So anyway, I just am sending many proposals of having people relate to the Olympics in whatever way they can relate to, connect to them in their own lives. I'm happy to send, I'm going to put my name in the chat and my email. And if you'd like to contact me, I could send you the proposal that's about to go out to them and to NBC. So I really, I just, I thank Barnard for opening up this opportunity, being in New York and having access to women who have gone after their dreams in sports and in other avenues, and giving me this opportunity with Sports Illustrated. And I'd like to bring everyone, I would like, my dream is to have this current crop of Barnard women be the young leaders, really help in getting the Olympic spirit concept over the 17 days of the games out there in the world. I would like them to be, have an experience of leadership through that. So that's another conversation I'm going to be having with the college. So thank you for letting me speak very much longer than probably a short introduction was anticipated. So thank you.
That was fascinating, Don. And I agree with everything. I think Anne put a comment in the chat. It's a great message to everyone. And it's very inspirational. I think it's going to be very interesting.
Okay.
So there are a couple of other people who might be on the phone. I don't know if they want to say a quick hello. E. Bernstein.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, well, welcome. Thank you for joining. Dolores, do you want to say a quick hello? Okay, well, this has been really great. Is there anyone who, we want to keep our group growing, and if anyone has, some ideas or suggestions, feel free to reach out to Ula or myself or Virginia, or if there's anything else someone would like to, we have time for like one more talk. If there's any other suggestions people might have, feel free to say something. Oh, Virginia, I think wants to say something. Go ahead, Virginia.
All right, hello. I just wanted to say, I put a note in the chat, but we're really trying to build the community of alum athletes. And to that end, we have a Barnard athlete hat that I've given to any person, any alum athlete that I've come across in person over the last couple of years. So if you're here today and you don't have a hat, please send me an email with your address and I will be happy to send it to you. And if you know other alum athletes who you think would be interested in having a hat, please let me know that information too. And, and they'll tell two people. I think it's really nice that we can sort of brand ourselves now as a community of alum athletes. It's really great. It's really powerful. And, through this very hard work and Ula's very hard work and the people in DevAR, we're just trying to find them and invite them back to the tent to join us. So I look forward to hearing from you and your friends. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any other comments that they want to share?
I have one more, sorry. In March, we do the Beyond the Game discussion panel that President Beilock referenced. And it really is about women, leadership, athletics. The actual topic changes by the year, but it's the only co-sponsored event that we have with Columbia Athletics. And so President Beilock and Peter Pilling are the hosts, and it's really been a great community event. It lost something, I would say, during the pandemic and doing it remotely, but we very much look forward to 2022 doing it again in person, with an opportunity for current and alum athletes to come together and celebrate athletics on our campus. So hope to see you there. And again, send me your email if you haven't been in touch recently, and we'll make sure you get your invitation. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Virginia. Virginia's been a great resource for us. I mean, she really knows the athletic community and has helped us plan events, and she's been amazing. So thank you, Virginia.
Thank you, Philippa, for all you do. And I would just say, we have great partnerships with the Columbia athletics community now, which is, new. And again, as President Beilock said, we only wish to continue to build on that. And I think it's terrific that we have opportunities to be in touch, direct contact with the coaches on a very regular basis. And for those of you who've been away from campus for a long while, I'll just tell you one of the more recent additions to the academic calendar is that Barnard hosts all coaches and Columbia Athletics staff for a breakfast, where they come and they meet all our deans and they meet all the administrators, and they get to know who the support is on our campus for the athlete. Right. And I think, before this breakfast came into being, there really wasn't that bridge. So we're really in a great spot and just looking to build on it. And, I know that early on in the Bears becoming Lions, and in the years that followed, we didn't quite have the strong relationship that we enjoy now. So just want to let you know it's all happening. And, all thanks to President Beilock for prioritizing that for all of us.
Thank you.
Can I just say one last thing before we close? Is that possible?
Sure.
Okay, so I just would like you to hold this vision in your, for that it might manifest in reality for the Olympics. So in Japan, there's like a ceremony in the summertime that honors ancestors. It's called the Obon Festival, and it's like a dance. The community comes together and it's in a circle, and it's a number of dances, very simple steps that are repeated. And it's usually the big taiko drums are also going. But given that, this is the Olympics where, many of us have lost loved ones, but also, in honor of the games that have gone on for, for centuries, and athletes long past, it's honoring everybody and life itself. So I have a vision of this one dance being done at the closing ceremonies by literally everyone. I'm going to just show it to you, which is like 10 seconds. It's a coal miner's dance, and it's like shoveling coal, shoveling coal, shoveling coal, shoveling coal, throwing it over shoulder, throwing it over, wipe your sweat, push the cart, all done. So it's to a catchy tune. And I just would love for you to imagine at the closing ceremonies, at the end of the games, all the athletes coming on the field doing this dance. And also, since this dance can be done just in one place, everyone in the stands, I don't know how many people be in the stands, but everyone in the stands doing this dance. And because we have now connected, virtually, everyone in the world can be doing the dance from wherever they are in their homes, on a park, on the bridges, in a plaza, in their office. So, it's like the whole planet dancing. So it's a joyous way to end the Olympics. And it's a 3-minute thing that could just be inserted into the opening ceremonies. And it's a way to really celebrate and honor, what has all those who have contributed to us.
All right, thank you so much, Donna. Thank you for that. I just want to quickly turn it back to Ula, who has a couple of thank yous and closing comments. Sorry, thank you for your comment.
All right, thank you so much, Virginia, for everything. Also, thank you to you, Devon and Philippa and President Beilock for sharing your insights and being with us today. To all of our guests, thank you again for joining us today and also sharing your stories. I'm inviting all alums to sign up for the Alumni Athlete Circle Group and to sign up for Barnard Connect. Now, we hope you will join us for more Reunion Reimagined events. Please visit reunion.barnard.edu, reunion.barnard.edu to learn about upcoming programs. And I want to end by quoting the ending that our AABC reunion chair, Rona Wilk, class of 91, used this morning when welcoming everyone to Reunion Reimagined. Stay safe, stay strong, stay bold, and stay Barnard. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.